podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Obviously, the pleasing thing is that we give so little away in that penalty area. But at the flip side, we didn't create as much as we have done in other games. But we done enough to win the game, and that's special for us because, like I talked about, big game mentality and it being a big game for us, Leeds home and away. You know, talk about a rivalry, but it's big for us as a football club, and you want to play, you want to test yourself against one of the biggest clubs in England, and today it's just a brilliant result for us.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Cart. This is the always much sought after voicemail show. Joining me he's back. He's our show regular, co-host for the voicemails. It's Merv Payne. Merv, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Nick. Yeah, really good.
Now we had an IB for style light show last night ahead of that 1-0 win versus Leeds. You're a bit of an expert on IB for and the club scene, Merv. Now, how did you make of the light show? Did you see it?
I saw your clip, yeah, and the boos. The boos were quite funny. I saw someone, I saw a Leeds fan post. He posted a picture of the screens on the away concourse, and they were showing Emmerdale. And he said, I think the comment was something like, Emmerdale on the concourse and light show to follow. The game's gone or something.
The game's gone.
But thankfully we made up for it on the pitch later.
Well, we did, didn't we? And as Neil just said there, it was a magnificent win last night. I thought it was a real Neil Harris classic performance, Merv. We've seen it so many times from him. Grit, determination, and backs to the wall. So we were really up against it for 90 minutes, apart from obviously the Tanganga goal. It was quite a lot of pressure that we sustained there. I mean, it was a huge performance, I thought.
It was, yeah. And I think we followed on from the Burnley game on Sunday where we had a team coming down, obviously full of investment, full of Premier League sort of rated players, love playing this possession football that everyone seems to be obsessed with at the moment. You know, and looked from the first kick-off, looked like they were a level above us. And yet, certainly in the case of Burnley, it didn't properly hurt us. And we looked, I wouldn't say comfortable, but we looked like we knew what we were doing. We were well organised. We knew what to expect, and we knew how to sort of hit them when we needed to. And it was a classic Neil Harris sort of performance, and he's really stamped his personality on the team since he's come back.
100%. I'm just looking at the BBC website, listeners. Lead story there's Neil Harris saying he's very proud of the players. I think he's got good cause to be because there have been times, particularly under previous managers, Gary Rowett, then Joe Edwards, and I include myself in this, Merv, people kind of questioning some of the players' commitment to the club. Were they giving everything for their manager under those two coaches? You can't say that of this side at the moment. I mean, the side last night and Saturday against Burnley, maximum commitment. It really was maximum effort, blood, sweat, and tears, as I've said already. And I think we've got good collectively as a club. We've got good reason to be proud of this squad at the moment. It's really performing for us. Definitely,
yeah. I mean, the crucial thing is getting the players to buy in, and I think that's probably where towards the end of his time at Mill, Gary Rowett fell down, and I think perhaps pretty quickly in the Joe Edwards era, that would also be the case where they sort of perhaps knew what they were expected to do, but either wouldn't buy into it or couldn't buy into it for whatever reason. Yeah. But Neil Harris seems to have this uncanny knack of just getting every single player on side and getting the mentality right and getting everyone pulling in the right direction. I remember in the summer, the club website played an interview with, soon after he signed actually, with Tanganga. And it was a lot of laughs about it at the time because he basically compared Harris to Mourinho in terms of coaching mentality. But, you can laugh, but you can see his point. And I think certain managers have that knack of getting every single player on board and they have the us and them siege mentality. I mean, Fergie was famous for it at United. Yeah. And yet you see so many teams now where it doesn't matter how much money they spend, what players they've got, you can see that they're not a team and there's something wrong. And you can always see it, fans aren't stupid. And right now, I mean, the video clip the club put up of the players coming down the tunnel last night, I mean, if ever you wanted a sort of an example of the unity of the club, players like Coburn, he's only on loan for God's sake, and yet he's like punching the air as, he's enthusiastic as a fan.
Yeah.
You
No,
can see how
100%. Yeah.
and Harris is instilling that into him. He's proved himself as quite a motivator, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd include Josh Coburn, who came into the game last night. I mean, these are all players that are on loan to us. I think it's easy to forget that Wintle, but punching the air, and buying into it. It was an interesting conversation, which I wanted to ask you about. I spoke to Graham Payne, one of our show regulars, earlier on, and he was apparently Gary Rowett was co-commentator on Sky's coverage last night.
He was. I was going to come to that, funnily enough. Yeah, very revealing.
I missed out on them because obviously I was at the ground, but comparing his ability, Neil Harris's abilities to motivate the Den and the club to bring out the Den as a weapon, almost as our 12th man, or whatever the cliche has. Which Gary Rowett, for all his undoubted managerial nous, and I believe he does have it, he could never tap into the Den, Merv. And I was wondering whether you have to be of the Den to get it. I mean, this is all very cliched stuff, and I can't think of better ways to put it at the moment. But Gary Rowett was not of us, was he? He'd come in via various Midlands clubs, Burton Albion, and a player. I think he played for Charlton as a player.
He did,
Derby. So he was not of the Den. The likes of you and me and the listeners are of the club. We know nothing else, really. Neil Harris, I think, is of the club, and he also buys into that us against the world mentality. I think you've got to be of us to bring the best out of us. Is that a fair point, or am I being overly romantic?
I think that counts for most clubs. I think a lot of clubs you'll get away with it, not totally buying in. But if off the top of my head I could name managers in my time that have got the club, it's people like George Graham, John Docherty, Kenny Jackett, and obviously Neil Harris. And that's just off the top of my head. They come in, and Docherty said, as soon as he walked through the door, he said he felt like he'd walked into like a gritty little Scottish club in his hometown, Glasgow. And Alex Ray said the same as a player. And if you plug into that, and like I say, Gary Rowett was a good coach, but I don't mean to sound disparaging, but I think it was to him. It was just a job. It's more than a job to Neil Harris. That's the thing. And I agree. I listened to the co-commentary with Rowett. His comments in the early stages were really telling, to be honest. Because if you remember last season, just over a year ago, towards the end of Rowett's reign, Leeds came down and absolutely slaughtered us. We didn't lay a glove on them.
We were pissed poor that day.
Yeah, I remember moaning at the time saying, we didn't even try, and people saying, they're a Premier League team. So it doesn't matter. So the Millwall mentality, it doesn't matter who you are, how big you are. So we'll at least let you, when you leave, you'll know you've been in a game, and we hadn't. And last night, in the first 10 minutes, Rowett was like waxing lyrical about how well Leeds were controlling the ball, and how when he was at Millwall, he found it hard to get the team to combat those sort of tactics, to get the crowd on side. So that said to me a lot, that he didn't manage to do that, and Harris knows how to do it. He knows that it might take 10, 20 minutes, but he knows it will come. And that's the difference between Millwall at home to Leeds last season and under Rowett, and Millwall at home to Leeds this season. I know Leeds have got a different team. They're still a great team. They're still full of Premier League standard stars, I think.
Oh, I agree.
We just have a different mentality. Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, there's always a pantomime quality to Millwall versus Leeds, listeners. I don't mind saying to anyone they're a very, very good side with players of skill and talent and pace. I mean, the wingers, I thought last night I was on the edge of my seat. I don't know how it looked on TV, Merv, but I was on the edge of my seat for that whole 90 minutes, and it didn't feel as like we were in as much control as maybe hindsight allows.
No, it did feel that every time they went wide and went forward, it was only a matter of time before they crossed it and someone put it in. But I thought that on the Sunday against Burnley, and I was watching it with my son, and he made the point, because I was moaning about Brian not picking up the wide guy, and he said he's probably been told to just tuck in.
Yeah,
and they said they're probably quite happy for the wide men to have it, and as long as they're stopping it once it goes in the box. And I mean, he's dead right. I think they were quite happy to let the wide men have the ball and put the crosses over. But when they did put the crosses over, we were dealing with it. And I can't remember seeing us so competent at dealing with that sort of attack. It just seemed they threw everything they threw at us. We just soaked up and got rid of it. It was really good to watch.
I agree. Man of the match in the stadium, generally was Jeff at Tanganga, and I agree with that. He's an absolute solid as a rock in the.
He's unbelievable both ends, isn't he? Really, I mean, the way he took his goal,
scorer. Yeah,
just unbelievable.
Let's play some voicemails. We've got two here. I'm going to short and sharp one, which is always good from Harry. Short and sharp from Harry, and I'm going to follow Harry with Hassan Koulé, Merv. So we'll play Harry then Hassan.
Well, that was a quiet night in the library. We were magnificent, weren't we? I've sort of taken some time this morning to read across the socials. Leeds fans boiling their own piss about Daniel Farker and it's our cup final and all the usual bullshit they come out with. But the fact still remains, we are fifth. We are finding ways to win. Is it pretty? No. Have we played better and lost this season? I'd argue yes. Are we the informed side in the division? Yes. Have we got options off the bench finally? I'd argue yes. It's all looking very positive. Watch us lose 2-0 to Stoke.
All right, Nick, Hassan here. So, the morning after the night before, driving to work with a big smile on my face this morning, I have to say. And you could say it's a rinse and repeat from the game against Burnley on Sunday. The boys done well again. They defended doggedly. We took our chance. I think it was the only chance we had really, except for the guy hitting the post. But again, a magnificent win, absolutely magnificent. You know, the boys, they should be so proud. And you know, when's that statue being erected at the den of Neil Harris? I mean, anyone who knocks him, just fuck off and go support Charlton. Because at the end of the day, the guy's a legend. He's a legend as a player. He's a legend as a manager. What he's doing with this team is nothing short of magnificent. I think now we've collected the most points in the Championship since February. The other team who got the most was Leeds. Again, brilliant. Can't fault anyone. He's usually his squad as well. He's been very smart with that. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Dinor didn't play, Aziz didn't play." Bomber's smart. He's cycling players in and out. Aziz, he done well on Sunday. Maybe the game last night would have been a step too far to keep it up again. We have got Stoke on Saturday, it's an early kick-off as well, with half an eye on that. But he obviously trusts his squad to rotate it. That's what all the best teams do. You know, that's the reason why they spend so much money, to have big squads so they can dip players in and out. And Bomber's doing the same. I haven't got a problem with that. A lot of, you know, it's, of course, when it came out and Wintle was starting over Dinor, I was like, oh, you know, not really happy about that. But I can see why, because Dinor come on, and to be honest with you, Wintle ran himself into the ground. He's definitely a workhorse in that midfield. He hasn't got a lot of finesse, but he put himself about, made himself known to everyone, and I think he's done a good job, as a lot of the other players did. So yeah, I haven't got a problem with that. Atmosphere was good. Again, what did Leeds do to trouble Jensen? You can see they got quality in that final third. You know, the little Italian winger, he's tricky. They brought on a guy towards the end. He was tricky. They've got a lot of tricky little players, a lot of flair players. And you know, I think if your standards or your concentration drops 5 or 10% against a team like that, they will hit you hard. But as I said, magnificent defending, the fight, the will to win, cutting them out, closing down. I mean, their fitness levels, I've never seen anything like it, mate. They must be on, I don't know what they're on, but obviously they're training so hard. I mean, Tanganga, you could say he's man of the match. He cleared everything. I think he won every header. And I'll tell you what, it's a fucking great goal. I mean, Cooper does well to win the header, to get it across goal, and then, you know, Tanganga comes in, cool as you like, outside of his boot, you know, job done. I mean, I was saying there was like a striker's finish, really, the way he put it away. So hopefully there's more of that to come. It was good to see the centre backs get a goal, one on Sunday, one last night. So I like a centre back scoring, and you know, growing up over the years watching the likes of Stuart Nethercourt, Darren Ward, Paul Robertson, They used to chip in a lot of goals back in the day, and hopefully this can carry on. I'd like to see us something about get a goal. But I mean, what a week! Beating Burnley, beating Leeds. Before that, winning at Swansea and Plymouth. We can get something on Saturday as well, be even better. This little run of form, I'm going to take us back. I like going back in time just to reminisce on older results and older seasons. Do you remember when Kenny Jackett was in charge and it was a season we won the playoffs against Swindon? There was a week where we played, I think it was Carlisle away on a Tuesday night, beat them 3-1. We played the Arrivederci at the Den, beat them 4-0, and then we played Leeds on the telly on a Tuesday night and beat them 2-0. These last few results reminds me of that period, that consistency, that willingness to keep going on. And ironically, Bomber played in those 3 games as well. So magnificent. As I said, just need to get one more big effort in before the international break. Get up at Stoke, take a draw from there, to be honest with you, and we move on. I'm glad we beat them dirty Leeds bastards. Always good to get a result against them. So fucking arrogant. They're the Liverpool of the Championship, The entitlement stinks, but we move on, and as a dirty Leeds fan would say, we march on together. Just to rub it in a little bit more. All the best, Nick. Bye bye.
Wonderful stuff, Hassan. Dirty Leeds. That's a good insult. I like that one, Merv. And before him, H, with a very short and sharp one. Always good to hear from Harry. I'd forgotten that run of form that Hassan's just mentioned, the Kenny Jackett, but it's been quite a period of time, and the fitness levels that he refers to as well, Merv. I mean, I've been thinking about George Honeyman. How does he keep running, and where do they get the energy from? I mean, it's absolutely incredible, isn't it? The levels we're playing at the moment.
It is. It's refreshing. I don't want to tempt fate, but it's refreshing to be able to keep a good fit squad as well and have people win week after week. But they both touch on the key thing there, and that is the strength in the squad now. And you look at the benches of the last 2 games, and it's staggering, really. You think about. I mean, people were moaning last night that he dropped Aziz and Dinori, but like I say, we've got 3 games in 7 days. 2 of those against 2 really good teams. Stoke are no Muppets either. They've won 2 on the spit. He's got to use his squad. And until now, I mean, during Harris's previous spell, he never really had the sort of strength in depth he's got now. Rowett, to be fair, probably didn't have this much strength in depth. And what you saw in previous Harris sides or previous Rowett side, if the team had to go flat out for 90 minutes, then they couldn't. There was nothing they could bring on off the bench to keep that same momentum going. It was all about damage imitation or the tempo going down. But now Harris knows that he can tell like Wintnell or Honeyman to run their legs off because he can bring someone on, after an hour or whatever, who will just keep that going rather than it affecting the tempo of the team or affect the pattern of the team. He can just keep it going. I mean, to have people like Coburn and Ivanovic and Dinori and on the bench, to be able to Watmore, when he brought Watmore on Sunday. And the way he linked up with Coburn, I mean, it was just when you think, these players have come off the bench, for God's sake. This is players that we would have been starters.
Not so long back. No, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, we used to have it with Jed Wallace. He's a classic example of someone who would just run himself into the ground. We could never take him off, because if we did, then that was it. We would just drop another Jed Wallace. We could say, right, off you come after an hour, and we'll bring another Jed Wallace on. We didn't have anyone, So to have that,
absolutely.
And Harris is exploiting that to the full, and it's good to see. I think he's really showing his coaching sort of credentials now that he's got a good, strong squad to play with.
I take my hat off to the likes of George Saville, who it wouldn't surprise me if he's rotated, if whatever the word is, on Saturday, Merv. I mean, I saw it might have been the club video that you're talking about, where it looked like he'd been mauled by a tiger at the Aspinall Zoo or something, like this kind of scratch mark across his chest. I don't know what happened to him out there, but. And Tanganga we've mentioned already. All of the players, every single one of them, physically put themselves on the line. Tanganga's taken a battery on the last couple of games. Somehow he gets. I was like a boxer getting off the canvas. He
is.
It's magnificent to see it. And I think Harry's interesting point, which I think Neil Harris has made the same point. When we were playing pretty football, and we were playing some lovely stuff at times. I think I was raving about it on these shows, Merv. We were getting beat, but now we've turned ourselves into this machine of Gary Rowettness, only better, and we're getting the results. So maybe I saw it all. I don't know.
I saw someone whinging on Facebook this morning that the quality we may have won, but the quality of football was poor. Yeah. Someone chipped in with, I know, it's unbelievable. Someone chipped in with it's Rowett ball with wingers. And it's unbelievable. So when I made the comment, I said, would you have rather we'd lost 1-0 on Sunday and last night, but been the better team and played pretty tappy football? Would you have then been happy? And I can't believe they would, you know. And okay, Rowett ball with wingers. What we were crying out for throughout Rowett's reign, when obviously we got some good league positions, but there was always something missing. There was always that sort of intensity and that pace that we're used to seeing at Millwall. And it was wide, pacey players like Femi Aziz. I enjoyed watching Aziz so much on Sunday. It was an absolute joy. For the first time in years, we've got a player who wants the ball at his feet. And again, this is down to all the influence of Romain Esse as well. Yeah. But Aziz wanted the ball. He wanted to run at them. He wanted to jink, get wide, jink inside, put lovely crosses over. We haven't seen that for years at Millwall. And I know I can almost see the eyes rolling now, but under Rowett, we probably had one player close to that, and that was Tyler Bury. And I know he obviously had his issues off the pitch, and obviously his head wasn't. But on the few good spells we saw of Tyler Bury, you thought, here's the player that can do that. But Rowett obviously didn't fancy him, and maybe that's probably why. But you never saw Rowett using wide players. It was always so condensed, and now we're getting wide. I mean, I don't know what's happening with Adam Mayer. I don't know if he's still in the frame or.
Were they talking about him going out on loan?
Which is a shame. But it seems at the moment, Aziz is the man that Harris has got using in that wide role, and he was just absolutely brilliant on Sunday. And again, you talk about the team spirit Harris has got. None of them probably mind actually. Well, it's probably mind being dropped, but they don't split the dummy out if like Aziz, for example, was man of the match on Sunday, starts on the bench last night. But he understands, and Harris has got them in that sort of mentality where, you know, they're all for the team. And Aziz will probably start on Saturday at Stoke.
100%. We're going to take a short advertising break, listeners, and when we come back, the next voices you'll hear will be Rob Woodford, followed up by Jim Hackett. So we'll be back after these messages.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Rob Woodford from Block 4, mate. Well, that was another Herculean effort last night, wasn't it? And, you know, this is a squad of players that are playing for their manager and are playing to their strengths. Look, we don't have the quality of players that other teams have in this league, but our quality is in our team ethics, our team spirit, our shape, our discipline, our tackling back, our backing each other up when we make those unforced errors, you know. Now, it's been easy in recent games to give the man of the match to whoever scored the winning goal, but my star player in recent games has been George Saville, the complete warrior for me. And when his colleagues get an international break shortly, he has to keep going for his country, doesn't he? He's the bionic man. I thought it was great to see the Leeds manager looking on all forlorn, it seemed at times, you know. What's his name? Daniel Fucker? Anyway, look, here's a spoiler alert, right? In the Millwall Cafe before the game, someone mentioned to me that we were only 2 points off the playoffs. But, you know, I had to remind him that in reality, we were only 7 points off the relegation positions. And that's still the case, right? After last night's sequence of results. So let's enjoy the 5th position while we can. And let's be all proud of our team this week. And can you imagine how our dressing room would have been last night when they came off the pitch? But can we do a job now on Stoke next? Well, we would have to keep the same intensity levels, the same high tempo, the same high energy, and at the ridiculous time of 12:30. Bring it on.
Hey, Nick, Jim Hackett here. Game's just finished. I thought I'd throw something down there tonight because I think everybody's going to say exactly the same thing about that game. It was a Leeds team full of really talented individuals who looked fantastic when they received the ball, but ultimately had no direction. I thought they were a poor team, and really on a better day we might have got a second goal there, but I don't think they caused us too many problems. They had so much possession, but you could see everything they wanted to do. And our boys very much a tight unit, and not just the team, but the squad as well. You can see the players that came on all did a job, and I'll give Neil Harris his due. He made the substitutions at the perfect time. I think Coburn coming on showed what we've been missing, when he's not been available, because he holds the ball so well. He's got enough energy and enough pace and enough strength to get round players and get stuck in a little bit. So I've got a feeling that we might see a lot more of him now that he's suddenly getting back to match fitness. So they were good, and the whole team, you can't knock anybody today. I thought Ryan Leonard had his hardest game that I've seen him have as a fullback, because I thought Nonto was he's a diamond, isn't he, for Leeds? But unfortunately, there's no end product with him or Daniel James. And, long may it continue, because they're a shallow team, Leeds, just full of individuals. And I think their bottle was going. The longer the game went on, they had less and less idea of what to do going forward. So for me, a really pleasing end to a couple of games where we possibly thought we wouldn't get anything out of, and yet we got something out of, with a great finish from Tanganga. And he was, I think, rightly man of the match. But you could put a man of the match cloak around the whole squad at the moment. Everybody, including the management and the staff, everybody's doing their job. And, we're getting the rewards that possibly weren't getting early in the season. These 1-0s, long may they keep racking up. I know there's a game at Stoke on Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch it or even get to see it. So I'll be keeping an eye on Twitter and just hope that we can keep this run going, because it's fantastic while it runs. If things start going a little bit awry, at least we've got this marker on the board. We're up to 5th at the moment, and we probably won't stay there. But as long as we're up there and we're playing the way we're playing, and we're nicking wins, and justifiably nicking wins, we're not giving a lot away. So fantastic result. Good luck, everybody, and come on, you Lions.
Spoken like true Millwall fans, Jim and Rob before him, referring to the fact whether we've got a gap on relegation and not to get too carried away in 5th, Merv. We've all been round the track too many times, mate, haven't we?
Well, it's true, because I think it's only a few weeks ago. It didn't seem like that long ago now. We were losing it. We were handing Cardiff their first win of the season and moaning about that.
Yeah.
And looking over our shoulders at the bottom 3. And suddenly I think Cardiff won 4 or 5 on the spin and sort of shot up the table a little bit, but got beat last night. But, and suddenly, like I say, a couple of wins, especially this time of the season, because I know it's still very early, but what you don't want to do is sort of start looking at the sort of Christmas period thinking, well, it's going to be a relegation dogfight again. If you're up there, you're not planning for the playoffs at Millwall just yet, but you've got that sort of buffer of 22 points, I think we're on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if we do have a little blip, if we get a few injuries and we have maybe a couple of 2 or 3 games where we don't win, then it's not the end of the world, and we've got that sort of we've got that cushion. But
bit of credit in the bank. Yeah, no, I agree.
Because when we say Stoke away is hard, and the next home game it's Sunderland, isn't it? Who was top. Doesn't get much.
Another tough one there. I thought Jim made an interesting point about Leeds being great individuals but a poor team. I think we're a great team at the moment. I wouldn't say we're poor individually, but we certainly are greater than the sum of our parts, which is what football is fundamentally all about, Merv, isn't it? The team will always prevail over the collection of individuals. When the goal went in, the disallowed goal, I should call it, not the goal, I must admit my heart skipped a beat, because I thought it looked like a decent goal. It was judged offside, but I thought it was a fine decision. Did the TV show it as offside? I didn't think it was in real time.
It was pretty close, but it was. Yeah, I think there's many complaints about it. But the whole playing style thing. And sort of like saying about the team being a better team rather than individuals. Without getting too nostalgic, it puts me in mind of the Doherty 87-88 team.
Yeah.
When they were considered direct and whatever, long ball, whatever. But I think Doherty and McClintock's famous mantra at the time was they win the battles first or in their half, and they play their football in the other team's half. And it sounds oversimplistic, but it's true. I think that's what we saw last night. We weren't just aimlessly hoofing it as we have done before. Now we were just keeping it simple and sort of like damage limitation at the back. But then when we were getting in there, sort of third, we were playing some really nice stuff, and we did on Sunday as well. And a lot of that is down to Romain Esse, really. The skill and the confidence he's got.
Yeah.
But to sort of say it's all hoofball or it's direct is crazy. You've got to mix it up. You can't just be you just can't be passing the whole game and expect to win on possession. I think Leeds had 75% possession last night, but
75 for Leeds last night, and I think we had 35%, so that was 65 for Burnley on Sunday.
I mean,
so we've won twice with less than half the ball. It's incredible, isn't it?
Football's all people. I think people, because they're so bombarded with stats and systems and all this sort of stuff on Sky now, because they're so desperate to pad it out.
Yeah.
That people have become a bit blinkered as to what actually constitutes success in football. It's scoring goals and winning bloody football matches, and that's what it's all about. And you can't get away with doing that on a regular basis if you're totally devoid of any sort of flair or skill. And there's plenty in that Millwall team, but they just use it when they need it, long may that continue. It's better than passing your way into League One. That's all I can think.
That's very true. Big shout out for Jim, who gave a mention to Ryan Leonard and Danny Mack last night. They both had a tough. They were in the game last night. Those wingers were very good, and as Jim alluded to, thankfully the end product wasn't up to scratch. But that was a tough evening for both players. We defended very well down the flanks because both had coverage behind them when these tricky wingers, fast wingers, Merv got past them, and there's someone behind them to clean up, and that's top organisation. So big shout out to Ryan and to Danny Mack.
Yeah, especially Leonard's proven to be just an amazing fullback now. He's really found his position. And there was a funny tweet from Rich Corley of the South London Press on Sunday evening, and he said, "Here's a full list of wingers that have got the better of Ryan Leonard this season."
Blank.
And he's proper old school, none shall pass sort of defender. I'm so chuffed for him that he's keeping his fitness, because I always knew if he could get clear of his injury problems, that there was an absolutely outstanding player there, and he's proved it. He's absolutely brilliant,
Yeah, he went through a period when he first came to us where injury was a constant feature of his life. I'm touching a bit of the wooden cabinet here for good luck.
We weren't sure what his best position was, and he was moved around the team, played in various roles. And just when you thought, he's clicking, he's doing well, he'd get an injury, and then he'd come back, and it was all so stop-start. It must have been really frustrating for him. But now, obviously Harris knows him of old, didn't he? So But we're getting the real deal with Ryan Leonard now after a full season last season, and this now where he's really found his home, I think, at right back. It's just really good to see.
100%. And big shout out to Rob for the use of the classical term Herculean. I do love a classical term on this show. Well done, Rob. I love that. Last one for you now, Merv. We're going to finish off Merv's section, listeners, with messages. A short one and a long one, then a short one from Charlie. Let's have a listen to Charlie.
Hi Nick, Charlie here. Just calling in after a fantastic 1-0 win against Leeds at home. What a performance from the boys. Everyone man to a T, worked their bollocks off tonight. I can't fault anyone. Got to say, the first half I thought we were sitting back a bit too deep to start with, just letting them play the ball in front. But you know what? It worked against Burnley the other day, and I think it's working against these teams that want to keep the ball at our place. Because we're getting the ball, and when we get the ball, we're actually breaking. I do wish we had a little bit more pace. I mean, what more for Aziz tonight was a bit of a strange one for me, but personally, it worked in the end. We got the result. But yeah, I didn't think Leeds were that great. I didn't think they were great going forward. Must have just been an off day for them. I don't remember them creating a clear-cut chance, apart from the one that they scored was offside. Can't tell if I was offside or not. Just a special mention to George Saville tonight. What a performance. Immense from him. Worked hard, got stuck in. The Noor coming back on, did fantastic as well. But the star of the show, Tanganga, my God. How have we got him? It's unbelievable. To finish like that, on the volley, outside the boot, into the bottom corner, sensational. I really hope we can keep him for a long time, or we get a big fee for him next season. But look, up to 5th apparently, carrying on, still doing what we're doing. Hopefully we can back it up away at Stoke on the weekend. But yeah, come on you Lions. Oh, and also, before I forget, because I did mention him, Danny Mack, superb. Didn't notice Dan James in the game at all. Thought Danny Mack held him off well. I mean, everyone was outstanding, but I just had to put a quick message in. Danny Mack, brilliant.
Nice one, Charlie. Big thank you for those 2 messages. Yeah, Danny Mack had to fight for his place, and he's still really in contention with Joe Bryan, Merv, who was missed last night. I think he was suspended last night. He may have had a bang on the head on Sunday, but I like Danny Mack. It was a Millwall situation last night. He's a Millwall boy, and if you gave me a choice between Joe Bryan, despite him playing quite well in recent games, I think I'd probably always favour Danny personally. And that's probably just an emotional choice rather than a footballing choice in some respects. But I thought he played very well last night, as Ryan we've mentioned already, Ryan Leonard. It's good to see him, coming good.
Yeah, I mean, he's having something of a renaissance at the moment, Danny Mack, isn't he? Because he had a really sort of bad spell when you sort of felt maybe his time at the club had come to an end, and things just weren't working out for him. And when he was fighting back and getting his place, he was having a bad time. But I think that was more symptomatic of the defence as a whole. Really, he was having a bad time, and obviously he was being made the scapegoat sometimes. But I mean, I don't think the left side. He's playing on the left side. He's doing really well, which is his natural side, is it?
Yeah, no. It's indoors style, isn't it?
The right-footed left back.
Right.
But I agree with you, and it's not just an emotional reaction. I think he defends better than Joe Bryan. Joe Bryan offers a lot attack-wise, but I think sometimes we're a little bit sort of bare at the back with Joe Bryan. Might be his age, maybe, I don't know. But I find Danny Mack gives us a lot more security at the back and still offers something going forward. So
yeah, I agree.
It's just good to see that he's got himself back on track, because, like I say, he's one of ours, and it's always great to see those players doing well. And it's easy to forget, talking of homegrown players, that Billy Mitchell is still
still to return. That's right.
Yeah, so we've got Billy Mitchell there, and yes, which is good to see. So
with the returning injured personnel, we're starting to get Neil Harris will have some choices to make. I mean, I'd expect Coburn to probably start if he's got the bulk of the game in him, his legs in him, Merv. But that's it's excluding a great talent in Mihailo Ivanovic. The only thing I'd say there is he's probably young. Maybe last night wouldn't have been the environment for a possibly fiery-tempered 19-year-old to go into. You do need a bit of experience to handle the den on big night, big night occasions. But it's going to be quite a choice. It's going to be stuck for choice soon. Neil
it
Harris.
is. Yeah. I mean, I read somewhere there was a thread on Facebook. I think it was about going all out to sign Coburn on a permanent. But from what I understand, there's absolutely zero chance of that. I think Middlesbrough have made it clear that they've got long-term plans for him, and you can see why. But someone made the good point that the whole point of bringing in Ivanovic is he will fulfil that Coburn role once Coburn goes back to Borough, because Ivanovic is still only 19.
Yeah.
This season is like a sort of a process of bringing him into the side more and more and doing that Coburn role, I presume, if he can. But yeah, I mean, at least now we're not back to the days where we're wishing we could hold on to our loan players, because we know that when they go, we've got plenty.
We've got replacements in.
Yeah, we've got them there, and that's again, it's all down to that size of the squad. It's so important, and it's really reaping its benefits now, definitely.
On to Stoke on Saturday, as we've said already, they're not mugs. We do need to keep a bit of a cool head in these situations. It's a long season still to go, so but it's great to be sitting in the playoff zone. Beats being down the other end of the table, Merv. So hats off to Neil Harris and the boys for their performances so far. Merv, I want to say a big thank you, mate, for joining me on the show. That's
as always.
And we'll no doubt be speaking again very soon with Merv.
Cheers, Nick.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.